Today's video covers Adam Aron's essential message, persistent buying, future projections, and more. We're starting with an important AMC message to consider as the year ends and a new one begins. Adam Aron provided this essential information. I recommend reading it to get a sense of what's happening, has been happening, and will be happening. First, as AMC's largest shareholder, and without selling a share on NYSE since January 2022, I have deeply felt the anguish of AMC's decreasing share price. From your many comments on X Twitter, I know it's troubling to many of you. Many of you have asked me to comment on share prices, and I may do so frequently. But counsel has advised me that it would be inappropriate for me to surf at the helm of a publicly traded company. It is apparent that many of you have many theories about why AMC's share price has fallen. Some of such viewpoints accurately describe events. Some are partially accurate, and others are illogical. Before continuing, let's discuss this. First, as we've always stated, Adam Aron profits more when AMC squeezes than when he helps short sellers. You must recognize, he's the main shareholder. You can only imagine how much Adam Aron makes when AMC's share price is $1,000, $10,000, or $50,000. We've always said the pressure benefits Adam Aron. I never think he helps short sellers. I know some people may think that, and that's fine. But we have to consider Adam Aron's opportunity cost and the fact that he's the largest shareholder and hasn't been selling. Whether it's squeeze or not, it's in his best interest to raise AMC's price. AMC price decrease speculations are another topic he discusses here. He discusses how some are extremely spawn, some are half accurate, and some make no sense. Now, he doesn't specify which of the ones he talks about falls into which categories. But what we've seen recently is a lot of talk about the dark pool, which I still believe is one of the biggest reasons why AMC prices don't go up. When you look at the dot pool, you can already see the comparison. I think some of the ones he wants to call complete nonsense are tinfoil hat moments that people do make, wherever they believe it or wherever it's for the fun of it. Of course, we've seen some where it gets too ridiculous, and I think that's what he's talking about. I think Adam Aron is still hinting at all the manipulation that is still going on for AMC. Today, AMCs are far more efficient and productive than they were a few years ago. He continues to discuss this by reviewing what they've done during the year. Some of the analysts, previous years, and AMC's profitability. Adam Aron's best interest is to raise AMC. Is it going up? Are things improving? Yes. Yes, we are. As we've said, the box office will grow. The efficiency of AMC will improve. After cutting operational costs and interest payments, in factoring in what we've indicated, AMC's profitability should increase. We predict much more in 2026. The focus last year was on enhancing AMC's inner structure, operations, etc. Thus, I assume Adam Aron said this year. I think Adam Aron wants to focus more on how to grow AMC's market share, which will reflect in the actual price of AMC because we obviously deserve a much higher price. I know it's not Adam Aron or AMC's fault because there isn't any fault of theirs, but the manipulation, suppression by these market makers. But I think AMC wants to take a move toward this. I think regular shareholders could get the biggest message. More importantly, I think another reason he wants to address this in retail is that he doesn't want institutions to buy up because when you look at the net inflow-outflow, people are still buying AMC, whether it's retail or institutions. We expect AMC's institutional ownership to remain high. Now that news articles are encouraging you to sell AMC and calling it a poor company, institutions are buying more. That should be the clearest message about how much we're doing, how big AMC can get, and the future projection of what's obviously going on. And I think Adam Aron wants to give that message to retail because he wants the apes to realize the opportunity before the institutions take everything. Recent AMC promotions included free movies with a $20 meal and beverage package. That method earned $15 million in concession sales in 2 days from 753,000 people. AMC has been focusing a lot on improving the fundamentals and business structures, which is very important because that's how we're able to position AMC this year in terms of reflecting the price. He also mentioned that they'll bring more Netflix content to AMC theaters. Netflix isn't here to take over AMC. They're here to create more material for AMC because they recognize its power. The global box office for Avery Ash is expected to exceed $2 billion. The franchise has reached this milestone 3 times. This is another evidence of box office success. We'll only consider future Avatar franchises. Only upcoming movies will be examined. That we can see a box office this enormous should show you AMC's total box office potential. Zootopia 2 eclipsed Avengers Endgame to become the highest-grossing Hollywood picture in China. This is essential since we discussed how the lowering in rules is opening up a new market in China for more movies. We showed you how Zootopia 2 supplies Avengers to illustrate that the Chinese movie industry is profitable. That will increase AMC's box office revenue, and we also discussed film distribution. If AMC distributed films, they could promote them in China. This will also be significant. Look at AMC Dark Pool. Something significant is happening. Again, you're examining dark pool usage. We notice in terms of dark proportion decreasing. However, volume remains high. So 62% is the percentage. Compared to before, it's lower, but the volume is 22 million. Compared to 72%, but 16 to 17 million. The percentage shouldn't blind you. It's still vital, or we won't discuss it. Despite a lot of volume being buried, the market is unaffected. That's still the biggest issue because when we get this much volume, it's likely bullish volume to boost AMC, but suppressed and rooted in the dark pool. Now you're considering banks run on Fed repo window pauses. This is shocking given what's happening, but it's not surprising when you see everything. No liquidity injections Monday morning after TBTF banks requested roughly $100 billion from the Fed over the prior to trading days. Given the market's current state, this is shocking and suggests a pause. It will take time to reach a conclusion, but the liquidity crisis is likely to worsen. If so, many banks will struggle. I stated we still have to wait because U.S. regulators fined banks $7.1 billion for failing to stop potential inserted trading and manipulative activities. After that, I talk about how we are still getting news of how these regulators are helping these funds. And because they know there's manipulation going on, they won't put themselves in a position where they don't completely are out of equity or liquidity because they can't afford all of these banks' manipulations. Another example is the $6.4 billion reverse repo. Zero repo, 6.4 reverse repo. This is what allows short sellers to dip in, and we're seeing it go to zero. It appears dry. That's crucial to monitor. Another thing UBS dislikes is silver rising further higher. This matters because UBS shorts silver. If they take a huge hit, AMC swaps may be covered or transferred if UBS can't hang on to them. Finally, margin debt nears $1.3 trillion through December. Another item is spotlighting what's happening in the market right now, including stress, margin requirements, and banks' need for money. Always accept financial advice with a grain of salt. Be diligent in research, and I'll see you next time.